Now, intimate partner violence bhanera कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ any sort of violence that is inflicted by your close sort of romantic / sexual partner. Ani, it's about emotional violence. It's about psychosocial violence. So it's all of those sort of violences that come together to form that sort of intimate partner violence.
But intimate partner violence as a subject should be brought upon and addressed by the legislation in order to like pass a law or provision. Marital rape or sexual harassment is actually a very good ground for divorce. And because of the social stigma, we still have ki biha gareपछि छोड्नु हुँदैन, छोड्यो भने समाजले के भन्छ.
Because people are more open these days. People are more into, like, they have their own partners without marital relationships, हैन? त्यसमा पनि त there's a lot of violence that's happening नि. So gaslighting भनेको चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि अब we know what we feel नि, हैन? हामीलाई मलाई त यस्तो भइराछ होला, जस्तै अब हुन्छ नि, मलाई त यहाँ कस्तो टाउको दुखेको जस्तो लागिराछ होला भनेर you go and tell someone रे कि, and they'll be like, हैन तिमीलाई टाउको दुखेको होइन कि, हेर न वेदर यस्तो छ, त्यो होइन, बरु तिमीलाई त के रे यो तिम्रो नर्भस सिस्टम अलिकति कता के, बरु तिमीलाई त पेट दुखेको होला.
Namaste, welcome to SEXploration. I'm Nishma Choudhary, one of your hosts for this cool podcast that we're doing. You can watch us at Radio Nagarik's YouTube channel and Facebook page. We are supported by Yuva and funded by Right Here, Right Now. That sounds so cool, but let's say that right here, right now. Anyway, so it's yet another episode, and I hope that you guys are following all the other episodes that we're doing. हेर्नु भएको छैन भने प्लिज हेर्नु होला. यो शो चाहिँ हामीले स्पेसिफिकली इन्फर्मेसन दिनको लागि एउटा डिस्कसन सुरु गर्नको लागि सुरु गरेका हौँ, बिकज द यङ्गर जेनेरेसन डिजर्भ्स दिस काइन्ड अफ कन्भर्सेसन्स. अनि यो शोमा, यो पर्टिकुलर पडकास्टमा चाहिँ हामीले वी टक अ लट अबाउट सेक्सुअल एन्ड रिप्रोडक्टिभ हेल्थ एन्ड राइट्स इन नेपाल. त्यसकै वरपर बसेर चाहिँ हामीले कन्भर्सेसन इनिसिएट गरेका छौँ. एन्ड दिस एपिसोड इज स्पेसिफिकली फोकस्ड अन IPV, which is intimate partner violence. And with us, we have two amazing, cool ladies who are going to give us more insights on how it is. With us, we have the other host of this podcast, Kriti.
Yes.
Hi, Kriti.
Hello.
It's so good to sit with you in the same, episode. I was looking forward to this. It's so good to
actually sit on the other side of the couch and know how it feels.
For a change.
Yeah, for a change.
And then with us, we have another amazing person. So the first time I met her, I was like, okay, I'm just going to call her everywhere I am so that I get to learn a lot from her, because she's like a box of information for me, at least, for people like me, who just have such a hard time remembering things and crave for information. So with us, we have Aakriti, who is Kathmandu-based journalist who writes about social issues, and she's just amazing. So welcome, Aakriti.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having me here, Nishmadi. With that whole introduction that you gave about being a box of information, I'm scared now.
Don't be. I am so confident about you. Like when I spoke about you to the team, I said, I met this cool girl. I went to this podcast and I met this cool girl, and she knows so much about things. I think we should have her over. I think she can do really give us a lot of information. So if I'm overacting, no, this is how I talk in normal life for people to know. So as I'm like the khatra mood ma chha, though the topic is very serious, yes. So let's just settle down, right? But before that, because it's always great for the audiences to know about the people we have on the other side of the couch. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the cool works that we do. You guys do. Alphabetical order. We go with Aakriti.
Sure, double A. Oh my god, double A. Yeah, so I've been working as a journalist based in Kathmandu, but also I've done a lot of covering from Karnali region देखि लिएर यता सिराहातिर पनि. Ani, what I mostly cover are issues around social affairs, focused on gender, queer issues, and also climate issues. So that is mostly based my professional work. त्यो सँगसँगै other interest is trying to write more on gender and sexuality, also having my own personal set of writing on family, love, belonging. So yeah.
So you write a lot.
I do, and yes. It helps.
Yeah. That's how you express yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Not everyone is supposed to express themselves through, I think, words is something that I always say. We're going off topic. Anyway, Kriti, I know a lot of people already know you if they have watched this podcast, if they have been watching this podcast regularly. So But I know you've not sat on the other side, so people do not know a lot about what you do in your life in general. So let's start with your introduction.
Already intimidated because I don't have much accomplished, like how Aakriti said, and she's been in my seniors in school, and I've always been intimidated by her, by her very personality since very beginning. I know school captain, एकदम strict, अनि आउने डर लाग्ने approach गर्नु पर्ने, अनि right now when I see her like completely different, अलिकति ease but then again intimidated. Basically I'm a law student, like जुनमा एकदम धेरै भनि पनि रहा हुन्छु like shows-मा पनि, because I have some piece of information that I know through it and I'd like to add up to the show. More than that, I also write, but more my writings are actually fictional. I also talk about gender issues, I talk about sexism, I talk about homophobia, since not only early, but then I like to add a little bit of historical background to it, but then I write more in a fictional way, like a monologue or a poem or something of that sort. Along with that, I do some work regarding these on projects in sexual identity and sexuality and gender, and I'm basically a law student and a freelancer. That's it.
So amazing. Thank you, Aakriti, for settling yourself down for the world.
Yeah, she actually did. She actually did.
Thank you. Say thank you. No. But I can so relate to that. Before we get into the serious topic, last time I met her, someone was late on the set. And she literally looked at that person and said, "You should really say sorry to my student." And I fell in love with her, and suddenly, because I wanted to say that, but I thought, okay, I might be just rude to say. But she just said, I don't have problem waiting for people, but we waited so long, and you didn't even come over and apologize to all of us for being late.
That has to be said to a lot of people.
And she just said that. And today I am a little late, so I was like, I was so scared. I don't owe it to anybody else, but I was so scared about her. So when you said like, okay, she's much easy to talk to these days. And I said, thank you. Thank you for settling yourself down for the world.
You should have seen her in high school. Pure stuck up. You can't even like go and talk to her. She's going to say something really nasty and you're going to go home crying. That stuck up.
Yeah.
So you
were that.
This episode just became about Aakriti all of a sudden.
Changes in the life cycle of Aakriti.
Anyway, wow, you can just have this as like one of the like just make a small chunk of this particular video and then put it in your social media. Like, if people ever ask me to introduce myself, here, world, thank me. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, the topic is IPV, intimate partner violence, something that I personally can guarantee that a lot of girls can relate to. Cannot talk on behalf of all the other genders, though, because I am not definitely a representation to them. So I'm expecting a lot of perspective from you guys from that angle as well. We would want a lot of legal perspective from you, because I think you know better from that perspective.
She's a law enthusiast. Maybe she
is, but no, I would like to categorize today.
Yeah,
because then it'll be
there would be a diversified perspective.
Yeah, diversified perspective, and mostly I'd like to get more insight and perspective on IPV, the myths and what people think about IPV in general and what it is not, and these kind of things. So physical, mental, topic categorizing. I'm expecting more from you. So what is IPV in general? We'll start with that.
Okay. So IPV ma janubhanda agadi we can talk about domestic violence here. So domestic violence is a term which is more common, हैन? Domestic violence is then further categorized into IPV र okay, so who are the perpetrators भन्ने खालको कुरा आयो नि त. So domestic violence, but about intimate partner violence भनेको who is your intimate partner, be it your husbands or your boyfriends or your girlfriends or however you identify your partner as. So your partner. And then you have a violence that is inflicted by your other family members. So domestic violence को larger category मा त्यो पर्यो. Now intimate partner violence भनेर कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ any sort of violence that is inflicted by your close sort of romantic/sexual partner, whoever you're sharing your life with in the sort of intimate relationships भन्ने कुरा. अब IPV को कुरा गर्दा many a times we only think about physical violence के. It's only about, say, we hear cases of बुढीलाई कुट्यो रे, which blaming लगाएर के गर्यो रे भन्ने खालको हाम्रो typical नेपाली narrative-मा जुन किसिमको आउँछ नि. So there's this whole, most of the media focuses usually on physical violence. But then it's more than that. It's economic violence, किन भन्दाखेरि who has the economic decision making power in that sort of relationship, in that sort of power dynamic. Ani it's about emotional violence, it's about psychosocial violence, so it's all of those sort of violences that come together to form that sort of intimate partner violence.
So that is intimate partner violence. So if I'm not mistaken, अहिले भर्खर तपाईले भने अनुसार चाहिँ intimate partner भनेको चाहिँ जोसँग हामी romantically अथवा sexually involved छौं उहाँलाई मात्र मान्नु पर्यो. अनि डोमेस्टिक अब्युज भनेको चाहिँ डोमेस्टिक भायोलेन्स जुन अलिकति बढी टक्ड अफ छ त्यो चाहिँ ओभरअल घरकै फ्यामिली मेम्बर्समा पनि हामी कुरा गर्न सक्छौं. देयर इज वान थिङ द्याट एक्चुअली केम टु माई माइन्ड जुन चाहिँ खासमा अलिकति सोच्ने हो भने पछि गर्दा हुन्थ्यो, बट आई रियली वान्टेड टु टक टु यु अबाउट दिस फ्रम अ लिगल पर्सपेक्टिभ. हामीले हाम्रो लले चाहिँ अस्ति मात्रै एउटा यहीँनिर यो कन्भर्सेसन गर्दाखेरि आएको थियो कि हाम्रो लले चाहिँ के भन्छ अरे भन्दाखेरि आइपिभीमा जुन हामी केसेसहरू लाउन सक्छौँ त्यो चाहिँ ओन्ली टु म्यारिड पार्टनर छ भन्ने सुनेको. इज द्याट ट्रु?
इट्स लाइक दिस, लाइक सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट भनेर होइन, लाइक इभन इफ यु टक अबाउट जस्ट सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट होइन, देयर इज नट अ सिङ्गल त्यो कम्प्लिटली डिफ्रेन्ट एउटा प्रोभिजन बनाएको छैन कि. देयर इज फर वर्क प्लेस बट देन जस्ट फर द सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट छैन. सो देयर आर प्रोभिजन्स फर मोराइटल रेप होइन, एन्ड देयर आर एक्चुअली प्रोभिजन्स इन विच यु क्यान टक अबाउट डोमेस्टिक भाइलेन्स द्याट इज डन टु यु बाई अ म्यारिड पार्टनर. सो यो विडम्बना भन्ने कि यो loophole भन्ने हाम्रो लिगल प्रोभिजनमा होइन. इफ यु गो एन्ड टेल कि मेरो देयर इज अ सेक्सुअल पार्टनर द्याट आई ह्याभ, मे बी बोयफ्रेन्ड, मे नट बी बोयफ्रेन्ड अर गर्लफ्रेन्ड अर एनिथिङ अफ द्याट सर्ट, तर उसले मलाई भाइलेट यसो गरिरहेको छ, यो फर्म्स अफ भाइलेसन भयो भने चाहिँ यु डोन्ट ह्याभ अ प्रोभिजन द्याट इज गोइङ टु एक्ट फर इट कि. So you just have something that is going to cover up the domestic violence or your marital rape and sexual offenses.
So this is what I wanted to talk about in specific. जस्तै यदि लले चाहिँ मेरो इन्टिमेट पार्टनर भनेको चाहिँ म्यारिड म्यानलाई मात्र मानिरहेछ, कन्सिडरिङ मैले यसलाई मात्रै केस गर्न सकिरहेको छु, बट वाट यु सेड वाज ओके एनीवन यु आर सेक्सुअली ओर रोमान्टिकली इन्भल्भ विथ, इट डजन्ट इन्क्लुड म्यारिज नि त यसमा होइन. सो हाउ डु वी अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड आइपिभी like this now? It gets very confusing for me. Okay.
So it's like त्यो भनेको legal remedy हामीलाई के available छ भन्ने कुरा भयो. It's so the question that you raised is very important. तर the question मा अब how are you trying to understand this sort of violence that has happened भन्ने कुरा भयो नि त. You have this term to label कि okay this was intimate partner violence, but does the law recognize it or not भन्ने that is a question के. So it's like saying कि मैले हजुरको क्वेसन बुझेको चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि when the child अनि मोडल एक्टरको केस आयो नि, इट वाज से 8 years पछि पनि रेप भन्छ र भन्ने खालको हो नि. लिगली त त्यसलाई रेप भनेन नि त, किन भन्दा स्ट्याट्युट अफ लिमिटेसन छैन नि त, बट वी आर स्टिल कलिङ इट रेप नि त. त्यस्तै कुरा भयो कि. सो इट्स लाइक वी आर स्टिल कलिङ इट इन्टिमेट पार्टनर भाइलेन्स, तर लमा त रेकग्नाइज भएन नि त. सो वी वान्ट इट टु बी रेकग्नाइज कि.
Is there anyone who's doing anything about this?
Not that I know of, because there have been a lot of situations जहाँ चाहिँ actually यो statute of limitation बडाम रेपको लागि भनेर चाहिँ a lot of activism has been done होइन. तर intimate partner violence as a subject should be brought upon and addressed by the legislation in order to like pass a law or provision भन्ने त्यो चाहिँ थाहा छैन. Precedents पनि खासै भनेको छैन in regards to intimate partner violence.
And like before we get into that होइन, it's very important to understand किन चाहिँ भएको छैन कि. and that goes back to हाम्रो patriarchal हाम्रो यो पितृसत्तात्मक सोच अनि यो सबै all the foundations of our society, and then trying to say कि अनि अर्को very interesting thing, like after talking with NGOs यहाँ people who are working in these sectors, marital rape को law छ नि, कतिजना marital rape मा उजुरिहाल्न जान्छ त?
जाँदैन.
त्यो statistics फेरि छुट्टै नै छ. We did an episode जहाँनिर चाहिँ हामीले we had a lawyer अनि मैले उहाँलाई सोधेँ कतिजना आउँछ त यसरी मलाई violence भइरहेछ, मलाई my partner just harassed me भनेर भन्दाखेरि it's very rare अरे. People do come for consultation, कन्सल्ट गर्नु आउनुहुन्छ, त्यसपछि तर त्यसलाई जुन फलोअप गर्ने, पेपरमा जाने होइन, लिगली एक्सन लिने, त्यो चाहिँ इट्स 80% 90% कम भइजान्छ अरे क्या बाई द टाइम यु नो दे ह्याड.
मोराइटल रेप र सेक्सुअल हरासमेन्ट इज एक्चुअली अ भेरी गुड ग्राउन्ड फर डिभोर्स पनि नि त. अनि बिकज अफ द सोसियल स्टिग्मा वी स्टिल ह्याभ कि बिहा गरेपछि छोड्नु हुँदैन, छोड्यो भने समाजले के भन्छ, दिस समाज वान द स्टफ अबाउट समाज. actually the family are the one who actually ask the women to like shut up के like नभन गएर घरमै मिलाउने कुरा हो मेल मिलाप गएर मिल्छ भने किन बाहिर गएर दुनियाँले रमिता देखाउने that's actually the term they use नै नि त so because of that रमिता देखाउने वाला term को कारणले गर्दाखेरि a lot of it does not get addressed के
no, but there's more to that there's a lot more to that जस्तै अब womenहरु कतिजना economically independent छ तिमीले डिभोर्स दियो रे भोलि तिमी गएर कहाँ बस्ने हाम्रो फ्यामिलीमा त बिहे गर्दाखेरि मारे पापाले पुण्य भनेर पो पठाउँछ त एटलिस्ट अहिले इट्स चेन्जिङ बट स्टिल इफ युर गोइङ टु द टिपिकल न्यारेटिभ अहिले पनि त्यही छ नि त
not looking at the urban crowd
or like say but I think we're directly delving into a lot of things I think we might have to go and talk more about why does
no you can just wrap whatever you're about to say this which I'll continue with the topics that we have
so it's like यो होल जुन अर्को किन गर्दैन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ कतिजनाले अब ठिक छ माई हस्बेन्ड डज दिस टु मी आइम गोइङ फाइल अ पुलिस केस अन हिम 2 दिन जेलमा हाला थर्ड डे त फर्केर आयो नि त थर्ड डे त्यही मान्छेसँग बस्नु छ नि त त्यही फ्यामिलीसँग बस्नु छ खोइ त सर्भाइभर सेक्युरिटी प्रोग्राम खोइ सर्भाइभर सेक्युरिटी मेकानिजम्सहरू खोइ भिक्टिम प्रोटेक्सन मेकानिजम्सहरू खोइ
there are provisions made होइन like there are things like कुनै पनि उसले चाहिँ if she actually goes and files for sexual violence को केसेसहरू अथवा domestic abuse को there have been provisions legally जुनले चाहिँ के भन्छ भन्दाखेरि the family
by married partner let's include that
by married partner
that has disturbed me so hugely that I didn't even bother to get into other
नेपालको सोचाइ अहिले पनि is कि you can only have an intimate partner if you're married so because of that हाम्रो सबै provisions are according to the system and the social institution of marriage so they have this provisions कि पछि गएर टर्चर गर्न पाइँदैन होइन अनि रिकन्सिलिएसन गर्नुपर्छ अवेरनेस दिनुपर्छ फ्यामिलीको लागि फ्यामिलीले चाहिँ उसलाई चाहिँ माइती पठाउनु हुँदैन अनि सी सुड बी एक्चुअली रिलोकेटेड इन द फ्यामिली अनि सोसियल स्टिग्मा प्रोभाइड गर्नु हुँदैन बट दिज आर जस्ट रिटर्न प्रोभिजन्स कि रियलमा प्र्याक्टिकलिटीमा हेर्दाखेरि इट्स नट बिन अप्लाइड सो बिकज अफ विच यो ऊ गर्यो भने इफ आई एम गोइङ टु फाइल इट अहिले बिकज त्यो ऊहरू पनिसमेन्टहरू जुन छ इट्स भेरी भेरी लेस सो इज गोइङ टु कम ब्याक इज माई हस्बेन्ड त्यसपछि मलाई झन् टर्चर गर्छ त्योभन्दा त बरु म अहिले भन्दिनँ सहेर बस्छु बरु माइतीमा गएर कुरा गर्छु घरमा भन्छु तर म लिगली कम्प्लेन गर्न जाँदिनँ भन्ने कन्सेप्ट चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट स्टार्ट भइरहेछ कि
So मैले जुन लयरसँग कुरा गरेँ भनेको थिएँ she said that the provisions are so pretty in papers भनेर so I can relate to that. Let's pull ourselves back to IPV in general because a lot of people may not know about it. So अघि भर्खरै when you said that okay IPV लाई चाहिँ हामीले एकदम इमेजिन गर्यौँ भने अनि even in my brain even right now you know even though I know that it's not एउटा पिक्चर जुन सेट भएको छ नि त म त हो नि त 90s kid eventually होइन I have grown up reading papers looking at the newspapers and whenever they talk about violence or partnerले गर्ने violence it's always very हात उठाएको दाग लागेको यहाँनिर घाउ होइन त्यो हो नि त होइन so even at this point and I try not to अनि मलाई कतै कतै थाहा छ तर आउँछ त्यो त्यही पिक्चर आउँछ कि so largely a lot of people still think that IPV is physical violence I know there is more to it which I expect you to explain us
अलिकति ब्याकग्राउन्ड एड गर्छु ल सो when I was researching on this कि IPV मा अनि मेरो आफ्नो बायसेस रियलाइज गर्दाखेरि के I was very much focused on गाउँघरमा के भइरहेछ अनि भेरी मच हुन्छ नि मेरो दिमागमा चाहिँ इट्स लाइक यु सेड फिजिकल पनि अनि समथिङ जसको चाहिँ पुलिस केसमा गएको हल्का यो एनजिओसँग कुरा गर्दा कतिसम्म उनीहरूले काउन्सिलिङहरू दियो यताउति मात्र किन वाज वेट अ मिनट नो इन्टिमेट पार्टनर भायोलेन्स भनेपछि त अहिले पनि देयर आर सो मेनी like because people are more open these days people are more into like they have their own partners without marital relationships होइन त्यसमा पनि त there's a lot of violence that's happening ni all of these rape cases that are happening where so many young girls have said that they've been raped by their own partners होइन कति ठाउँमा it's like one of them they shared कि like मलाई होटल लग्यो हुन्छ नि even though I did not want to go भन्ने खालको कुराहरू or like so many people they're like straight up I was raped by my former partner भनेर होइन so it's like that is also the violence that's happening okay so मलाई त्यो trying to recognize my own biases because of the sort of media because of the sort of things that I had like I
had read or watched while I was growing up
exactly and also another very one thing that we need to keep in mind is we grew up watching movies जसको whole central theme revolved around rape I remember watching so many movies Sridevi ko movie Madhuri Dixit ko movie haru ani yo Rani Mukherjee ko movie haru revolved around rape and rape was the central thing. And now that I think of it, it's so messed up.
It is.
Ani,
Yes.
But going back to that, there's all of this background, all of this is happening, and then you recognize that IPV bhanne kura is not just that. It's also the sort of manipulation that's happening. It's a lot of gaslighting that's happening. And again, it's very fascinating. Gaslighting and manipulation bhanyo bhane chahi mero dimag goes to aileko generation, haina?
Rather urban crowd.
Yeah. But then that's also happening with older crowds. Why is... Maybe just because of the access to language, the way that we perceive everything is so different.
The forms may be different, I know, but then gaslighting happens everywhere.
Yeah.
So, when you said this, and I can totally relate to it, जस्तै हामी सब डोमेस्टिक भाइलेन्स अथवा आइपिभी भन्छौँ सिधै दिमाग जान्छ गाउँघरमै होइन हामीले के सोच्छौँ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ ओके सहरमा बसेको छ पढे लेखेको छ अलिअलि पैसा कमाउन सक्छ उसलाई त भाइलेन्स नै हुँदैन कसैले केही भन्दैन होइन बिकज लास्ट टाइम आई ओपन्ड अप टु वान अफ माई फ्रेन्ड्स अबाउट हाउ माई फर्मर पार्टनर वाज भेरी भाइलेन्ट टु मी इन अ कपल अफ ओकेजन्स मलाई उसले के रिप्लाई दियो भन्दा एन्ड स्पेसली वेन गर्ल्स लुक लाइक अस के एकदम इन्टिमिडेटिङ स्ट्रङ होइन हेर्दैखेरि जन्मिँदै एकदम बाहुबली जस्तो देखेको जस्तो हुन्छ नि सो वेन दे सी वुमन लाइक अस दे थिङ्क हाम्रो त केही इमोसन चाहिँ छैन हामीलाई त कसैले केही गर्नै सक्दैन भनेर बट वी बिन थ्रु द्याट एज वेल होइन सो मलाई के उसले भन्यो भन्दाखेरि आई सेड सी ओपन अप अबाउट हाउ सी गट हरास फिजिकली हरास फर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन हर लाइफ होइन fortunately for her, it wasn't like when she was very young. I don't know why I'm saying this. It's such a disturbing line, but she was already 25 plus when she said this to me. And I said, oh, malai pani bhako. And because she was finding a friend in me, I also tried finding a friend in her. उसले ममा साथी देख्यो मैले पनि उमा साथी देखेँ अनि मैले भने के अन्त मलाई पनि यस्तो गरेको थियो नि मेरो लाइक फर्मर पार्टनरले वी वर आई वाज लुकिङ फरवर्ड आई वाज सोर्ट अफ इन माई हेड आई वाज डेटिङ हिम ही वाजन्ट होइन सो
आई लभ द्याट
सो हाउ डज द्याट ह्यापन बट भएको थियो होइन सो त्यो बेला ही गट अ लिटल भायोलेन्ट पनि सो मैले मलाई पनि यस्तो गरेको छ शी जस्ट लुक्ड एट मी एन्ड द्याट वाज सो टोन डेफ शी टोल्ड मी तिमी त फेमिनिस्ट छैन तिमीलाई कसरी गर्यो त हरास it took me such a long time to reply मैले रिप्लाई नै गर्न सकेँ because I wasn't म रिकभर नै भइसकेको थिइनँ कि खास मेन्टली थ्रु फ्रम द्याट whatever episode happened त्यसपछि उसले त्यो भनिसकेपछि झन् मसँग रिप्लाई नै भएन कि अहिले त म यसरी खुलेर कुरा गरिरहेको छु होइन सो वी sort of imagine that women who are maybe educated who've been fortunate enough शिक्षा पाउनुभयो होला राम्रो कमाइ गर्नुहुन्छ होला अथवा बोल्न सक्नुहुन्छ होला हामी जस्तै आफ्नो भावना व्यक्त गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ हामीलाई चाहिँ आइपिभी हुँदै हुँदैन भनेर सोचिन्छ के दिस इज वेयर वाट आई वान्टेड you both to maybe clarify from this episode. We've used terms like gaslighting, emotional abuses, and manipulation. Right? These are the three things that you came over. Is there anything else that we can add in this context?
Maybe something like blackmailing and stalking. Jun ekdam धेरै glorified पनि भएको छ मिडियामा. So romantic. He actually waits मेरो घर अगाडि for 3-4 hours. Oh my god, he knows my address.
So बेरोजगार man.
I know. You could work, you could want money.
3-4 घण्टा कुर्ने केटा is just like बेरोजगार.
So romantic. Like, I had this conversation. We had this 3 AM conversation. Group of girls, all girls. I went to a survey. And 3 बजेसम्म we had to wake up. So we were a group of girls. We were discussing about whatever like forms of violence that we faced from our perspective about it because everybody was opening up. There was a girl who had never dated and she's actually like the strongest in the class of the house. Okay, but then she said, I am so unapproachable. Nobody approaches me. I also want to date, but the guys are intimidated. So she was saying stuff like that. And then we said, dude, it's better to date a little afterwards than to actually date the wrong person and have a trauma. And then we were talking about stuff like somebody was waiting, somebody was actually following when even the other person was moved on with somebody else. Follow kar raha the, okay, everywhere she goes. And we were like so creepy. And she was sitting there, she was like, how romantic can that be? Wow, my dream boy. Like stuff like that.
Oh, thank Bollywood together.
It's like Kabir Singh type guys were very much into us. Like, I like that sort of a person. And it's from a person who's never dated. So maybe uleti face gareko she would know what exactly it is, right?
It's traumatic.
But then concept of the like you still glorify stuff that are actually very toxic in nature, Nita, which is very sad. We had to actually like wait for an hour and like we had to tell her, dude, this is not how it works, it's not supposed to be glorified. But then again at the end of the day she again thought it is something that has to be glorified.
I was just going to give example of two movies on two spectrums. Euta is Thapa Panja. I remember watching family सँग गएर अनि त्यहाँ भन्छ नि म त बुढी कुट्ने मान्छे हो, मलाई बुढी कुट्नलाई वाइफ चाहियो भनेर के. अनि how that was so normal हुन्छ नि. That is a Nepali movie which gets so much money.
That's one of the highest grossing Nepali films.
Yeah. Exactly.
Disturbing.
Ani त्यो एउटा. Ani on the other spectrum are movies like 50 Shades of Grey which we've watched, हैन? That is still problematic if you're going to look at it, हैन? So त्यो भएपछि the kind of media content तिमी जुनसुकै spectrum हेर न, or Korean dramas मा this whole your stalking obsession को कुराहरु गर्यो नि. अनि the whole idea of protection versus control. हुन्छ नि, you like to be protected but the whole controlling aspect that comes to it.
Chhaka Panja movie, actually there was a statement made by one of the actors in which she said कि like glorify गरिरहेछ केटीले चड्कन हानेको glorify गरिरहेको छ. The level of hatred she got for pointing out something which was valid. Her career was down for a couple of months, for I think a year, and everybody was against her. Jabaki they should have actually supported her.
त्यो सबै सिनमा डिस्टर्बिङ के थियो भन्दाखेरि जो क्रू मेम्बर्स हुनुहुन्थ्यो त्यो मुभीको उहाँहरूले चाहिँ गेट वेल सुन भन्ने त्यो एक्टरको नाम लेख्नु भएको थियो. आई थिङ्क इट वाज रिचा शर्मा who spoke up.
Richa Sharma who spoke up.
She spoke up. Any I don't know if you remember that episode. She spoke up about how we are glamorizing or glorifying domestic violence, and then त्यो सबै क्रू पुरै क्रूले चाहिँ गेट वेल सुन रिचा शर्मा भनेर
yes they posted status Facebook, and afterwards they actually took it down and apologized, but the damage is done. You're setting a wrong example. You were supposed to apologize कि yes यो हाम्रो तर्फबाट गल्ती भएको हो, हामीले यो कुरा गर्नुपर्छ. अनि त्यसपछि they were sequels to the movies हैन, त्यसमा पनि not much has been done. No progress at all.
Sure, because that sells नि त. अनि के सेल गर्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ जे मान्छेहरुसँग रिलेटेबल हुन्छ मान्छेहरुले त्यही हेर्ने हो, ऑडियन्सेसहरुले त्यही हेर्ने हो. अनि अनफर्चुनेटली दिस इज व्हाट इज रिलेटेबल टु पिपल भन्ने कुरा होला हैन.
अहिले आएर people have started to speak about it हैन, बट अहिले पनि हाम्रो जुन यो अर्बन पपुलेसन छ त्यो मात्र हो के. लाइक गाउँघरको मान्छेहरुले त अहिले पनि सोच्दाखेरि के नै भनेर बुढी कुट्ने भने त हो नि, हामीले पनि त गरेर आउने रक्स खाएर आएर राति हैन.
या आई मिन द्याट इज हाउ मिडियाले रिफ्लेक्ट पनि गर्छ क्या. जस्तो ओके सोसाइटीले यसलाई धेरै मन पराइरहेछ भने सोसाइटी मेबी यसलाई योसँग बढी रिलेट गर्न सक्छ. सोसाइटीलाई यो मन पर्छ अथवा आई डोन्ट नो वाट पार्ट अफ पिपल लाइक कबीर सिंह अगेन लाइक यु सेड हैन. That is there. I think there are a few terms that we mentioned. अघि हामीले जस्तो भन्यौँ IPV मा चाहिँ हामीले फिजिकल भायोलेन्स जुन चाहिँ अलरेडी धेरै कन्भर्सेसन भइसकेको छ त्यसलाई नछोएर चाहिँ कन्भर्सेसन नभएको पार्टहरू हामीले निकाल्न खोजिरहेको छौँ. सो फ्रम यु गाइज आई गट अ फ्यु टर्म्स लाइक स्टकिङ आयो एउटा, blackmailing आयो होला, then there was gaslighting, and then we had manipulation, controlling, you know, these things. So would you want to like go ahead and break these terms for us?
सो ग्यास लाइटिङ भनेको चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि अब वी नो वाट वी फिल नि होइन. हामीलाई मलाई त यस्तो भइरहेछ होला, जस्तै अब हुन्छ नि मलाई त यहाँ कस्तो टाउको दुखेको जस्तो लागिरहेछ होला भनेर यु गो एन्ड टेल समवन रे कि. अनि त्यसले बी लाइक होइन तिमीलाई टाउको दुखेको होइन कि, हेर न वेदर यस्तो छ त्यो होइन, बरु तिमीलाई त के अरे यो तिम्रो नर्भस सिस्टम अलिकति कता के बरु तिमीलाई त पेट दुखेको होला हुन्छ नि. यु नो वाट यु फिलिङ, बट स्टिल त्यो तिम्रो होल रियालिटीलाई नै डिस्टोर्ट गरिदिने वेमा जब अरू कसैले तिमीलाई मेनिपुलेट गरिदियो नि, द्याट्स एन इमोसनल अब्युज कि. अनि अब यसलाई त अहिले त हाउ आई एक्सप्लेन्ड इट इज कम्स इट्स भेरी टु डजन्ट साउन्ड हार्मफुल नि होइन. बट से कसैले हेर न मलाई त उसले कस्तो त्यो मलाई त मेरो से पार्टनरसिपमा हुन्छ नि when you're like I think someone tried to touch me एकदम inappropriately, मलाई एकदम यो एकचोटि होइन मलाई 3-4 चोटि भइसक्यो जस्तो लाग्यो, and I'm not feeling uncomfortable around them भनेर भन्यो अरे. अनि त पर्सन त्यो तिमीले सोचेको मात्र हो कि त्यो त्यस्तो केही पनि भएको छैन, हामी सबै त्यहाँ थियो त केही पनि हामी कसैलाई त केही पनि भएको छैन त भनेर. when that happens and things like these don't happen एकचोटि मात्र के, things like these get repeated again and again, comes in different forms,
and that sort of changes your reality.
It does.
Right? It does. Interestingly, I read this अस्ति मात्रै gaslighting भनेको चाहिँ कहाँबाट आएको टर्मले रे भन्दाखेरि there's this husband अनि जसले चाहिँ उहाँहरूको चाहिँ ग्यासले चल्ने लाइट थियो अरे के. अनि उहाँले चाहिँ त्यो लाइटलाई डिम गर्नुभयो अरे होइन. अनि जब वाइफले चाहिँ यो लाइट डिम भएछ भनेर भन्दाखेरि होइन सधैँ यस्तै नै हो तिमीलाई चाहिँ लागेको हो भन्नुभयो. यहाँबाट आएको टर्म हो कि अनि मैले त्यसपछि सोच्दै गएँ कि ओ माई गॉड द नम्बर अफ टाइम्स वी हेभ बिन ग्यास लाइटन अल दिज इयर्स बाई आवर पार्टनर्स होइन यस्तो बेसिक कुराहरू त कति भयो होला नि त होइन यु नो आई थिङ्क लाइक यो जस्ट यु नो लाइक यु आर बिङ अ लिटल भोयलेन्ट टु मी भनेर भन्दाखेरि होइन नि मलाई यस्तो भएको होइन मैले मेरो मुड यस्तो थियो त्यही भएर यस्तो भएको भनेर बट हाउ क्यान द्याट ह्यापन सो रिपिटेडली त्यो कुरा हामी नोटिस गर्न सक्दैनौँ नि त होइन एनिथिङ यु वान्ट टु एड अन ग्यास लाइटिङ हियर
नो लाइक हाउ सी सेड होइन हामीलाई के लागिरहेको हुन्छ जुन हाम्रो इन्ट्युसनले पनि भनिरहेको हुन्छ कि आई रियली बिलिभ इन इन्ट्युसन होइन एकदम स्ट्रङ हुन्छ कि त्यो भोइस कन्सियसली रङ भनेर चाहिँ इन्ट्युसनले रङ भनेर चाहिँ यो यस्तो हो भनेर सोच्दाखेरि द बेसिक टर्म इज युर ओभर थिङ्किङ युर ओभर थिङ्किङ युर ओभर रियाक्टिङ मसँग पर्सनली भएको छ कि लाइक I had a mentor, a teacher, right? Who was actually like very good to me first, so I actually looked up to him like a dad. And then he started talking, like sharing explicit content, right? Like about his sexual life and everything, which I did not need to know. And masanga arko dujana pani thiyo. And then we finished that session. We got out of the auditorium, and then I said, "Ki I am not comfortable the way he's actually addressing it. Malai lagdaina ki I was just in grade 11. I was very naive, right? And I said, "Ki yo malai alai thik lagena." And then they said, actually, this is a form of modernization. You're overreacting. You have to have an open mind. Because isto khali kuraharu gareko is because he thinks we're very modern and we should be vocal with us because we take it very lightly. Bhanera. Timle overreact gareko bhanera. After a few days, the same teacher was charged for rape in another school and he went to the jail. Right? And then everybody came up to me and त्यसपछि I actually shared class मा कि यस्तो भएको थियो and he actually talked to us पनि यसरी अनि it was not comfortable and then they were like you should have went and informed the principal, you should have done this, that. I was gaslighted the whole time. You
She's
know
just giving this smile.
Because like we
so
came from the same
this
school. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so and then everybody was upon it and I broke down in class. I was like, when I tried to say things, you told me I was overreacting. So I just like, and now that everything is up there and now you're expecting me to go and speak about something that I'm not comfortable. I was just in 11, and from that day I know one thing, like no matter how much people think you're overreacting, most of the cases you're not. It's very appropriate to act that way when you're not comfortable about something.
This is such a modern girl problems, eh? Just say my opinion, I'm doing this episode, this show, which is like sexual and reproductive health and rights, okay? There's this word sex here, and I go out, I talk about things that I feel about in as much appropriate way as I can, as I've learned. मैले जति सिकेको छु त्यसमा मैले के रियलाइज गरेको छु भन्दाखेरि people tend to think that women like us will be very easy. I know they better they start talking like however they want to. I know. And that staying in the context, I think partners also do that.
Yeah.
Why not? Just say okay. Timita, you're a modern girl. Why do you have to be so reluctant, so hesitant to maybe hold my hands or maybe kiss or get sexually, connect, intimate or something like that? त्यो पनि आउँदो रहेछ के. So these are, I think, the modern girls problem. If we are of course in a modern age and हामी चाहिँ we are very comfortable wearing the clothes that we wear, say what we say, speak what we speak, अनि त्यसपछि it just becomes easy जस्तो लाग्छ क्या मलाई. That is definitely there, and
that's a general concept.
Yeah, that also I think brings in a lot of harassment on our way, especially from the partners that we have in general. Right?
2 incidents I can share. Okay? So I was doing a lot of research about women's experiences with sexual harassment, abuse, following the rape case. One instance was where former partner अनि तर still in touch अनि त्यसपछि एकदम धेरै we should have sex गरेर एकदम धेरै उ गरिरहने अनि it's like तिमी त एकदम modern day sexually liberated woman होइन, तिमी त feminist होइन, why are you so closed off भन्ने खालको कुराहरू के. अनि अर्को was कुन चाहिँ थियो अर्को बिर्सेँ मैले.
Yeah, not a problem. But that pretty much explains it.
I would like to add something up, like you said, modern day feminist. There's also this concept, which is like directly IPV, which is if you had sex with me once, you should be willing to do it again.
Yes.
That's a concept that I don't know from where they got it, but then अस्ति भर्खर गरेको होइन, त्यति बेला त कन्सेन्ट थियो त, अहिले किन नाटक पारेर आएको or something like we've done पहिला, just because we're casual friends now does not mean we cannot do it, let's do it again. It's not okay. every time the situation may change, every minute it could change, and then it directly goes and results in IPV. Okay?
Also, adding up with a former partner trying to stay in touch forcefully, that can also be one of the IPVs. I don't know. Is it? Can that be?
It depends on the situation, okay? Because many a times both of them would want to let's just stay in touch. But
I think
forcefully it would be IPV.
Forcefully, because I have had someone who just didn't want to be in a relationship and didn't want to break up either. Okay?
Yeah.
Toxic.
Oh, extremely. Okay? When you said okay, former partner who just I just could think about my own story where and he just didn't want anything. He just wanted to torture me. Okay? Constantly के त्यो कल गरेर त्यो I don't know what pleasure he got from that. I know तर constantly के चाहिएकै छैन त्यही पनि. Going back to things like manipulation and controlling, is there anything that we can explain your context how is manipulation and controlling a form of IPV?
So controlling को बारेमा चाहिँ I can add a little bit. कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि let's talk about economic independence को कुरा के कुनै पनि relationshipमा अब अहिले पो more so women have started working अनि हल्का financial independence छ होला भन्ने खालको we can assume किन भन्दा again financial decision making at the end of the day कसले गर्छ के गर्छ हैन women don't have हातमा पैसा छैन अनि आफूलाई चाहिएको कुराहरु केही कुरा गर्न ओर्न पनि every time माग्नु पर्ने अनि in that sort of dynamic कतिको easy access of money छ त तर घरमा तरकारी पनि चाहियो यो पनि चाहियो त्यो पनि चाहियो तर फाइनान्शियली चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई हातमा पैसा नदिने खालको सिचुएसनहरु के अनि अर्को इज चाहिँ फर वर्किङ वुमेन काम गर्न गयो घरलाई टाइम दिएन भनेर त्यहाँ अर्को किसिमको भायोलेन्स हुन्छ के सो इट्स लाइक तिमी फाइनान्शियली इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट हुँदा पनि कति धेरै जनालाई त्यो किसिमको प्रब्लम छ कति जनालाई हातमा पैसा नभएको कारणले दे क्यान नट मेक एनी सोर्ट अफ डिसिजन मेकिङ छोड्दे म यसलाई छोडेर जान्छु भनेर सक्ने हिम्मत पनि छैन के सो द्याट सोर्ट अफ control with regard to economic that also happens अरु किसिमको control भनेको अब it's like तिमी कहाँ गइरा छौ कोसँग गइरा छौ tell me everything हुन्छ नि it's like yeah I need to know every single detail about who you met how many other friends you have other gendered friends you have हैन हो त्यस्तो किसिमको control पनि is there
I sometimes think and I can only speak for women like me हैन म जहिले पनि भन्छु कि यो कुरा मैले स्टोरी शेयर गर्दाखेरि because I don't want to generalize these kind of things हैन I personally think that sometimes us women हाम्रो emotional attachment नै हाम्रो लागि हुन्छ नि is like one of the worst thing that can happen to us जस्तो लाग्छ कहिलेकाहीँ sometimes in some cases say for example यो controlling हुने केसमा हैन even if I'm not like financially dependent on him or dependent on him in any way but because I'm so emotionally attached to him I may just go around and take his control as his say care for me हैन उसको मायाको रूपमा लिउला उसको केयरको रूपमा लिउला उसले मलाई दिने हुन्छ नि साथको रूपमा लिउला अनि यो सबैको जब म बोल्डान गर्छु किन हुन्छ त यो लाइक मसँग त I don't even have to हुन्छ नि लाइक depend on him for anything हैन यसो सोच्ने नै हो भने अनि किन हुन्छ त त्यो भन्दाखेरि sometimes I go oh my god why am I so emotionally attached to this person that I cannot see the negative side of the whole process okay when we're talking about controlling एउटा एकदम big example छ जुन चाहिँ recently media मा पनि आएको छ of Kim and Kanye I don't know if you guys have gone through that story हैन so अस्ति एउटा भिडियो हेरेको थिएँ and I was like super surprised okay so back when Kanye and Kim started dating Kim was okay of course definitely a different person we all change a lot हैन तर त्यो उहाँहरुले आको context चाहिँ they were talking about the whole wardrobe thing okay so I don't know if have you guys watched this story followed this story
okay
so के गरेछ भन्दाखेरि so Kanye when he started dating Kim he changed her entire wardrobe right he changed her entire wardrobe so now Kim only has the clothes that Kanye got for her एक साइडबाट हेर्दा people thought wow it was so romantic now that they broke up now people can see that it was actually Kanye controlling Kim's expression of herself through the clothes. Kinabani now the way Kim dresses up is very different. Now who is now facing this is Kanye's new girlfriend. Okay? Now Kanye's new girlfriend has totally started dressing up like Kim before.
She even looks like Kim.
Are you getting my point? And why is that happening is again what Kanye did is changed her wardrobe completely. So यो चाहिँ एउटा सानो chunk मात्र भयो of maybe of the bigger story that they have there. I know. I don't know if this is even supposed to be in the story that we're talking about. तर मलाई चाहिँ लाग्यो कि आउँछ भनेर. Do you think it is?
Yeah. It's like this, like you said, I know your video was very, very viral. अर्को एउटा थियो हैन, I think it was with Vogue or something in which she was like rating her looks. And in that, she was saying like she would wear something and Kanye would not approve of it, so all her outfits were Kanye approved. And she said it in such a way, she was like, Kanye is the one who actually changed my wardrobe, and in a good way, like she liked it.
She liked it. मैले भने न emotional attachment.
She said she liked it. Maybe now it's problematic to her because now she can actually sit and then like see piece by piece what actually happened to her throughout the years. If you see her expression, it's like Kanye did this for me and then I'm happy. And
she was happy.
Yeah. So it's like maybe because she was emotionally attached, she did not understand the violence.
त्यो बेला त्यो controlling हो भनेर बुझेस लागेन. अनि romantic लाग्यो पनि होला कि एक I mean, there is still, I know, I can really confess, there is still a woman in me that's saying that, that's romantic. Okay? It's the voice out loud in my head. I would love my man to do that for me. Okay? But when we sit and talk about reality like you and I are doing right now, no, that's controlling, man. I would like to wear what I want to wear. I mean, this moment I want to wear sari. Right now I want to wear a sweater. The next moment I want to wear my flip-flops. Nobody can decide that. Nobody can control that, especially with clothes. For us women, for some women, most women, it's like a way of we express ourselves or maybe our moods or whatsoever. To pure nahi change garne and then get it Kanye approved, partner approved. That's absolutely controlling me,
You would want to be comfortable with the person you're in. Even if you come in pajamas and sweatshirts and just wear a flip-flop and walk around, you should at least not think ulle cha judge nagaros huncha ke. There are so many people who are already judging, you're relying on one partner who's supposed to be your comfort. If he also judges you or if she also judges you, what's the point of being in a real relationship? Okay?
I would like to get into stalking now. If there's anything you want to add, please do. No, but I'd like to get into stalking.
Oh, we can get into stalking, but I'll quickly ask you a question.
Yeah.
You said emotional attachment, Have you ever questioned, say, what are your thoughts on patience and tolerance? Because we're brought up to internalize कि we should always be patient. We should always हुन्छ नि सहनशील हुनुपर्छ. अनि एकदम त्यो धैर्यताका साथ एकदम त्यो सुशील नारी भएर हिँड्नुपर्छ के. So probably this is just something to ponder upon कि how have these sort of values that has been preached to us mostly as very feminine and as त्यो नारीत्व अनि त्यो महिला अस्तित्व and shit like that, how that has formed our ideas of emotional attachment भन्ने कुरा पनि के.
If I were ever to answer this question, I will be very honest. In all my honesty, I'll tell you I'm torn. Your context, I'm torn. I'll tell you why. Because when I got into, when I was harassed, I was like 24 by my partner, right? By my partner ko chai kura gareko. Or other harassments, they've been there since I was like 10, 11 and whatsoever. Partner violence chai mero, I started off very late, just late bloomer, whatever they call it. So I was 24, which is when I was already aware of the things that we are talking about in general right now. Right?
Yeah.
Your conversations are. Also, fortunately for me, I have been in a family where my papa has been such a big support. He's always taught me things that may not have been taught to most women in country like ours. I know. Now that is there, right? Malai bhaniyeko cha that girls are strong. I know girls can speak out, and I know all of this in theory. I know. But when I have to apply it in practical.
Yeah.
Are you understanding my point?
Yeah.
When I have to apply it in practical, मैले मेरो real life मा apply गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ it took me so many chances to get okay यसरी चाहिँ गर्ने रहेछ भनेर के. And I don't know why and how that happens. बुझ्यो? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say?
यसरी चाहिँ गर्ने रहेछ as in
like how to how to just set that boundary maybe, or how to fight back, or how to stop this. And not believe in the fact that okay, Sushil and this and that हुन्छ नि in real, okay, not just in theories, okay. Are you getting my point? जस्तै मैले सुनेको बुझेको कुरा हो, यो गर्नु हुँदैन भनेर पनि थाहा छ, तर जब त्यो अप्लाई गर्ने टाइम आयो नि त्यो बेला अप्लाई गर्न चाहिँ गाह्रो भयो कि, इन बिहेभियर ल्याउन गाह्रो भयो कि, हैन. एन्ड इभन दो आई कम फ्रम अ फ्यामिली विच इज लाइक I'm not saying like जतिखेर पनि मलाई यो कुरा फेमिनिस्ट पोइन्ट अफ भ्यूबाट बुझाइन्छ, तर आई वाज फेयरली टट दिस थिङ्स. अनि मैले आफूले पनि बुझेको कुरा हो, तर त्यो अप्लाई गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ एकदमै गाह्रो भयो कि. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that clear?
Yeah,
That's how I would like to answer that particular question.
Okay.
Anything you want to add up?
No, nothing.
No?
We can go to stalking.
Oh,
now.
we can go to
Yeah,
stalking.
we can go to stalking.
What is stalking in general?
Do you want to go?
No, you go first.
So stalking भनेको चाहिँ अब it's like there's someone who's constantly following you. Who's constantly following you, say अब common terms मा है, let's break it down. कि हामी साथीहरुसँग मैले उलाई फेसबुकमा स्टक गरेँ नि आज, I looked him up on Instagram हुन्छ नि. So it's like that is you just going through their profiles and trying to see उसको प्रोफाइलबाट उसको पेरेन्ट्सकोमा जान्छ, उसको कोसमा जान्छ, a normal thing for us to do, हैन? But see, look at it from a lens where someone is trying to do that but to harm you, okay?
Negative motive.
Yes. So उसको intent के हो त? Legally mens rea र उ भयो नि, actus reus भयो. So mens rea भनेको चाहिँ मान्छेको motive के हो भन्ने कुरा आउँछ के. अनि त्यो भएपछि चाहिँ it's like if a person is trying to dig up all of your information, तिमी कहाँ काम गर्छौ, तिम्रो प्रोफाइल के हो, कता के हो, and does it in such a way कि you do not feel safe at all, where you're constantly हुन्छ नि this looming कि oh my god someone's following me हुन्छ नि, am I being watched, like is it okay if I go out this way, to always live in that sense of constant state of fear and threat हुन्छ नि कि someday someone's going to harm me or someone's going to harm about my loved ones, or like say or another case would be कि you were in an intimate relationship with someone, you broke up and they're trying to threaten you अब कि होस् कि तिम्रो पिक्चर्सहरु लिक गरिदिन्छौस् या I'm going to tell your parents or things like that हुन्छ नि, अनि always trying to make their presence feel known, because one thing that I've seen common with abusers is they're always lingering around के.
Yeah.
They will never. एकजना मलाई कस्तो केस भन्नुभयो भन्दाखेरि डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्टमा काठमाडौँ जिल्ला अदालत, उहाँ लयर एकदम खुङखार लयर, यसरी रुममा जहाँ गए पनि यसरी स्टेयर गरिदिने के, गर्न त केही गर्नु भएको छैन उहाँले फिजिकली केही छैन, तर त्यो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्टमा जतिसुकै ठाउँमा उहाँ पुग्नुभयो द्याट पर्सन इज देयर कि.
So it happened to a female?
It happened to a female.
Or male?
Female. Like a male was the perpetrator who inflicted it upon a female.
And she was a lawyer.
She was a lawyer.
What about the man? If you
Also in
Must
the legal
be a
professional.
lawyer, yeah. If he was
Yeah.
inside the court, if he was actually in the courtroom, must be a lawyer.
Yeah.
if he had access to so many
Yeah.
places
Yes,
inside
Yeah. तर उहाँले गएर भन्न जाने ठाउँ खोइ.
होइन, this is
the-
what
भन्ने
we're
चाहिँ के
talking
उसले
about.
मलाई हेरिरहेछ भनेर भन्ने नर्मली हेरिहाल्छ त सबले सबलाई भनेर भन्दैला नि त फेरि.
Yeah, so exactly के. तर that is also a form of violence नि त. The sort of psychosocial violence that happens out there.
I mean, I had a very small. I don't know why I'm calling that a small story, but I have a friend जोले चाहिँ she said no to a guy school पढ्दा. अनि it was I think 2 years ago when we were still talking about this guy. अनि उसले मलाई के स्टोरी सुनायो भन्दाखेरि उसले स्कुलमा त्यो केटालाई नाइ भनेको. उसले I think bachelor's पढ्दासम्म that guy was still following her. I just breaking it down for you, it's not romantic. If any one of you is thinking it is, it's not.
Yeah.
In fact, उसले के गर्यो भन्दाखेरि I mean, she said it in a way that I feel like laughing. ऊ घर आयो उसको राति, घर बाहिर आएर ठुल्ठुलो स्वरले उसको नाम कराउन थालेको के.
It's faced by a lot of people. Stalking is very, very common. High school देखि नै stalking is very, very common, होइन? स्कुलमा गर्ल्स स्कुल पढ, बोइज स्कुल पढ, कोएड पढ, इट डज नट रियली म्याटर. स्टकिङ इज समथिङ एकदम नर्मलाइज पनि गरिसक्यो कि. साइडको नेबरले देखिरहेको हुन्छ अरे होइन, यिनीहरूको जहिले पनि हो भने छोडिदिन्छ, बिकज एभ्रीबडी इज अलरेडी नर्मलाइज. एउटा पोइन्ट अफ टाइममा गरिहाल्छ नि, केटा मान्छे भर्खरको उमेर भएको.
Why have we normalized stalking? How did this happen?
मेबी इट्स पहिल्यैदेखिको पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटीमा जबदेखि मेल डोमिनेन्स भयो तबदेखि एभ्रिथिङ दे डिड, त्यो पनि प्लस बलिउड एन्ड ग्ल्यामराइजेसन अफ दिस पहिल्यैदेखि होइन. रोज लिएर पछि भाग्ने, कलेज अगाडि गएर कुरेर पुरा केटाको झुन्ड लिएर बस्ने, एभ्रिथिङ हेज बिन सिन. अब जे देख्यो त्यही सिक्यो कि.
यसको मुनि आई थिङ्क मेबी क्याट कलिङ यो सबै पनि पढ्न सक्छ.
विस्लिङ, क्याट कलिङ, नम्बर्स लाइक आई डोन्ट नो दिस इज इभन इलिगल होइन. नम्बर सेयर भइरहेको छ कि, लाइक यु डोन्ट गिभ अ पर्सन द नम्बर बट देन होबर बाई क्रुक हि जस्ट गेट्स इट. त्यसपछि ऱ्यान्डमली 12 बजे 1 बजे, आई स्टडी इन अ ल कलेज होइन, आई फेस्ड इट लाइक लिगल स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूबाट रातिको 12 बजे 1 बजे 2 बजे अनि ऱ्यान्डम कल्स, अनि यु जस्ट गोइङ टु पिक अप बिकज यु थिङ्क इट्स एन एमर्जेन्सी, अनि कोही पनि बोल्दैन फ्रम दि अदर साइड. नम्बर कसले दियो पनि थाहा हुँदैन, बट देन दे हेभ यु नम्बर एन्ड दे जस्ट लाइक टु ट्रबल यु के.
Yeah, at this Asian time, how is it not obvious that it's not romantic, Manir? Okay, that's not how you talk to a girl.
They don't want to accept it.
Because movie songs-हरु अहिले पनि त्यस्तै त बनिरहेछ नि कति धेरै म्युजिक भिडियो हेर हैन It's like all guys sitting on केटी हिँडिरहेछ and it's all of those scenes
Bike माथि बसेर
Yeah अनि when you said ni no means no भन्ने कुरा it's like you seen it's so romantic कि a guy सुरुमा reject भयो तर पनि he's persisting लास्टमा केटीलाई पनि मन पर्छ के and that's what we've grown up with and as you said as you would like to say a part of your feminine head says that a part of mine says like हुन्छ नि it's like हुन्छ नि yeah what if like I reject someone but then they still persist भन्ने खालको why
effort भन्छ नि त अहिले
Oh, yeah,
very
effort.
easy way to like pass for it is effort देखाएको केटाले that's actually supposed to be an effort जुन he is showing in order to actually achieve his love
यो एकदमै बेसिक ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा भइरहेछ जस्तो लाग्यो कि मलाई तर there is it can get very creepy भन्ने कुरा छ के
Yes, it does.
in our side the one that you shared the story that you shared and again one that I shared of my friend हैन okay राति आएर गेटमा has happened to one of the person in my family as well गेटमा आएर रातभर बसेको के
happens like I've been threatened after पनि
how do you
said
explain
no.
this to people like even in my family how do I tell okay you know that's happening it gets very awkward ni हैन it gets very scary
You're scared of your parents पनि the mom dad ले के भन्ला भन्ने because एउटा पोइन्टमा त गल्ती नभए पनि ओला the guy likes me it's my fault जस्तो अनि when you say no to somebody like it has happened to me I said no and he said म तेरो mom dad ले चिन्छु म मेसेन्जरमा मेसेज गर्छु म आएर यति धेरै केटाहरू लिएर आएर घर अगाडि आएर हल्ला गरेर बस्दिन्छु ढुङ्गा हान्दिन्छु झ्यालमा then I got scared and I eventually had to say yes
yeah this again connects to the next topic exactly that I was talking about modern day IPV I call it modern day IPV in my head at least because that is so common so मैले I think यही एपिसोडमा पनि भनेको छु होला and in a lot of places that I've been to so मैले जब एउटा काउन्सिलिङ ग्रुप खोलेको थिएँ त्यो बेला I had made it free मा थियो के like you didn't have to pay fortunately the counselors were doing it voluntarily भन्ने गरिरहनु भएको थियो त्यो समयमा यस्तो केसेसहरू आयो by very young girls some of them teenagers some of them or in their early 20s most of them in their early 20s हैन जसको चाहिँ के थियो प्रब्लम भन्दाखेरि अहिले यो ब्ल्याकमेलिङको कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ है प्रब्लम चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरि आई वाज वी वर पार्टनर्स हैन वी वर डेटिङ अनि त्यो बेला चाहिँ मैले न्युज सेयर गरेँ है न्युज सेयर गरेँ अब उसले मलाई त्यो पठाइरहेछ मेरो रिलेटिभ्सलाई पठाइरहेछ मेरो पेरेन्ट्सहरूलाई पठाइरहेछ इज बिन सर्कुलेटिङ इट आई क्यान नट डु एनिथिङ अबाउट इट त्यसले गर्दाखेरि सुइसाइडल फिल भइरहेछ दिस इज अ मोडर्न डे आइपिभी द्याट I've been seeing
so common it's actually so common
have you heard of all this
I have and the shitty thing is कि अब यसमा के गर्ने भन्दाखेरि legally जाने हो भने साइबर ब्युरोकोमा जाने साइबर ब्युरो दे ट्राई टु डु थिङ्स बट देयर सुपर स्लो अनि केसेस पनि सी दिस इज हुन्छ नि दिस इज अ ग्रिभियस फर्म अफ साइबर हरासमेन्ट त नभनौँ बट लाइक it's a set of violences that is happening but यसलाई साइबर ब्युरोले कतिसम्म हेर्छ कतिसम्म सिरियसनेसका साथ हेर्छ भन्ने खालको कुरा पनि भयो and then I don't know, the whole sort of you कस्तो भन्ने कि I'm trying to think of how why this happens भन्ने खालको क्वेसनमा गयो भने चाहिँ it's like what is it that the man is looking for?
One of my teacher what he said is तपाईको यो sexual violence, sexual harassment, rape cases को जुन FIR हुन्छ नि त्यो हेर्नु पर्छ रे हैन it is not lesser than a pornography.
That's the thing. You can recognize it, but it's so difficult to again take the right action.
Yeah.
Again, this whole being a strong woman is used against you. Then can sakinas. And that makes me wonder. हामीले त सकेन अरु कसले सक्छ It's just having this conversation कि someday if you do anything wrong, I am not going to hesitate to drag you through courts.
अर्बन पपुलेसनमा हेर्यो भने पनि दुईटा ट्विनमा एउटा छोरी जन्मियो भने एउटा चाहिँ छोरा जन्मिदा भयो दुईटा छोरा जन्मियो भने त एउटा छोरी भन्दैन त यु हेभ ट्रमा बट देन यो सोसाइटीले नै यसले कस्तो नर्मलाइज गरिदियो कि लाइक यु लाफ्ड एट इट अनि वेन यु लाफ एट इट होइन तिम्रो भित्र एकदम धेरै ट्रमा छ अरे बट देन यु आफै लाफ एट इट द अदर पर्सन इज वाचिङ इज हाँसी त रहेछ
A couple of people, men, they've shared with me their instances. One of them was pretty young and he was molested by a young woman who was married. Okay? But one of the things is ki, like, these men, they did not have any spaces to go and share. And another thing is ki, many of the targets for child sex abuse, especially with regards to young boys, they are boys who look feminine. Okay? Any sort of minority, or say particularly women from indigenous community, ethnic communities, their bodies are very discardable. And this brings in the caste ko kura ke.
त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इभन सिस्टमको कन्टेक्स्टबाट पनि उहाँहरू थिचिएकै हुन्छ हैन ल पेपरमा एकदम प्रिटी छ ल हैन बट इफ यु गो देयर एन्ड देन लुक एट द कन्डिसन यु रियलाइज त्यो रियल हो उनीहरू बलात्कृत हुनुको कारणै उनीहरू त्यो जात भएर हो किनभने एक्सेस नै छैन टु द ल